Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm Ian Carlos Crawford.
I'm Zachary Patton Garcia.
I'm Adam Sass, and today we are talking The Body, which is the 25th anniversary of The Body, and we are joined today by staff writer at Nerdist,
Eric Díaz.
Hi, Eric.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for doing this so last minute. You happened to post about The Body yesterday, and I was like, great, let me ask Eric. I've been wanting to ask him.
Thank you. I've been wanting to do the show forever, so yeah.
Oh. Eric, was it you that wrote about my Stacey Abrams interview? No, maybe not.
No.
Oh, I thought it was
You
you.
said what Stacey Abrams interview?
Wait. Maybe I did.
I
It
think
would
you
have been a
did.
long time. Was it a long time ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I think I did.
lived
Yes.
700 lifetimes since the like few years ago.
That
Was
was-
it two?
It might have been 2019, 2020.
I'm
No,
sometimes asked
Yeah.
to write articles that then I find out I have already written them. And I don't remember having written that. I'm like, you guys, I wrote this in 2022.
That's fair.
I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry.
I think it was pre-pandemic, so I think we can safely forgive
Yeah.
a lack of memory for anything before that time.
But Eric, this is your first time joining us. Do you want to give us your Buffy origin, how you got into the show and everything?
Yeah, my Buffy origin is weird. I wasn't watching a ton of TV in the late 90s. Like, there was just like, I don't know. It just wasn't cool. And I was in my 20s and whatever. And like, I don't remember. And I remember the movie being like, whatever. And then I just kept hearing a lot of stuff about that like, oh no, it's actually good. It's actually good. And I watched like The Witch. That was the first one I watched. I'm like, oh, that was actually cute. But I dropped whatever. I wasn't like recording it or anything. Then I remember there was a radio ad for like, tonight everything changes on Buffy, and it was innocent, surprise, innocence. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch this tonight. And I was like, oh my God, they're sticking with this. Oh my God, they're gonna like do this with this show now. And from that moment on, clicked. And I really kind of feel Buffy came on when I was like around 24. Buffy is the last of those pop cultural obsessions of mine that like got into my DNA. It got there right at the end, because I was already like almost my mid-20s. So it was like, I think after that, you may love a show or a book or a movie or whatever the hell, but there's like I think there's a limit where things get in your DNA. Like you have to be a certain age. And Buffy was, I think, the last thing that really was like, I'm like obsessed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that. So that was when it was early season 2. And then I never missed an episode after that.
I love
Just
that.
became like an acolyte, So that's my Buffy origin.
If it's their last one, it's a good last one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say like there's many, many things that I really love, but there's not that many things I'd get tattoos of. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the things that are like intrinsically you.
I think I've written about that a little bit, where like I think age 14 to probably some early 20s age, like you said, like
I feel like
it's
25,
a sponge of everything, and like that's why I'm like, you can think of a movie you saw when you're like 15, and it can be just like the shittiest shit, and just in your bones, and you're like, I'll defend this 1997 VHS dumpster thing.
It's true.
Yeah. So we are here to talk The Body. I cried my way through watching this. Zach and I both watched the commentary.
Yeah,
Joss
I wasn't
Whedon
about to
commentary.
watch the episode.
It's really good. But also I did both. I watched both at the same time to torture myself. I had the episode playing on mute, but then I would put up the volume so I could like.
I've seen it so many damn times that I didn't need to watch it again. I wanted to listen to it. So I had the commentary on, and then it has like the audio from the episode underneath it. So that was enough for me. I wasn't ready to put myself in that emotional state today.
Well,
today's not the day for that.
I didn't see it. I was like, 'cause I'm in such a space where I'm like, my bones don't need that.
You got to be really careful with that one.
Like, I was like, if Ian wants me to show up today, I cannot watch the show.
I love how both of you are like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm a picture of mental health, and I'm like, yeah, I watched it.
I told him, I said, don't watch it, but
I
he
mean, I
didn't
didn't
listen to me.
fully watch it. I just kind of like, because I had the commentary on, and I had watched the commentary the first time we went through the episode because I thought it was interesting. And it is really, right, Zach? It is like, I mean, you're like a film person, like that.
Listen, credit where credit is due. He did a phenomenal job on this episode, and I think it is such an important episode of television. I think it's one of the best episodes of television, fuck. And it's not talked about enough either. You know, people don't discuss this one enough.
I mean, yeah, revisiting it, I still think it's one of the best episodes of television. Like it just is. Everyone, and Adam and I interviewed Kristine Sutherland for this 25th anniversary coverage that we're doing, and like,
heavenly. Yeah.
So sweet.
And today we are joined by the one and only mother of Buffy, Joyce Summers.
And I'm Kristine Sutherland, otherwise known as Joyce Summers. I'm so happy to be here, you guys. Thank you.
Oh Kristine, my gosh, what a delight, what an honor.
I have to say, we've had quite a few folks from the show on. People were so excited when I posted about having you on. People were like,
"Oh, great.
This is different." Yeah.
And I'm sure this is no surprise to you, but our audience is a lot of like queer folks, and oh boy, everyone's like, "Oh my God, you have mom on. Oh my God."
I know. It's like, how did I get so lucky to be known in the world as like the mother that people wanted? You know, I mean, I just like don't think there's anything better in show business than that, besides being a vampire slayer.
Fair. Before I ask you some Joyce specific questions, do you want to tell us about your audition and how you came to the role?
Yeah, it was. I still think about it, and it was so amazing. I wanted to quit. I wanted to stop acting and do something else, you know, and I wasn't sure what yet, but I knew I just like pulling the plug on acting was what, you know, and saying to my agent, I'm done. That's what I needed to just kind of, you know, it's really hard to pull away. So, he called me and he goes, "Oh, we had this audition for you." And I was like, great. You know, I'm thinking, okay, I'll do one more audition. You know, I just don't have the guts to tell him. And, you know, clearly I was very conflicted about it. So I went in and I did the audition, and I walk in and David is in the room waiting for his audition as well. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a really handsome guy. And, you know, I bet he's going to get cast for whatever he's auditioning for. And I went in, I had very little material. It was kind of, you know, well, yes, hun. Or I think that's a great idea. I mean, you know, it was nothing you could sink your teeth in and get a feeling for who it was, but it was a mother. So I was pretty much just myself. And, you know, usually with that little amount of material to work with, you're not really expecting anything, but it's like I caught this little thing in his eye and I thought, oh dear, I might get this and I'm about to retire. You know, not really retire, but, you know, launch myself into some new career.
Yeah.
And then they called and offered me the part, and it was kind of like, this is so fantastic. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
So today is the 25th anniversary. Today, the date we're recording is the 25th anniversary of The Body, which is, I didn't even realize.
Wild.
Yeah, I didn't realize till yesterday. I was like, wow, that's so weird. We landed on the date that's the anniversary of The Body. Anything comes to your mind about filming? Anything?
Oh, it was so personal. It was so deeply, deeply personal because my mother had died of an aneurysm.
Oh, Jesus.
So even though I knew I was going to die, I didn't find out how I was going to die until like the day the script arrived, which was, you know, it was 1 or 2 days before you start shooting. And so that was kind of like, wow. Because, you know, it's not that common.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just so bittersweet, you know. It had just been such a beautiful ride for me. And so just first the loss of the show, even though I had known and I was reconciled to it, it's like when somebody's terminal, you know, actually losing them is still really hard. So that was going to, you know, it was a big transition for me, but I had also, you know, I had lost my dad when I was young. And so it just brought back all the memories of I lost my boyfriend when I was 15. I lost my dad when I was like 26. So I had experienced death at an early age, which was exactly what Josh was writing about.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought he did a brilliant job on that show. Like when I read it, I just couldn't stop crying because I was like, God, he knows what it's like to be there and to just go, what do I wear to a funeral? Like I have no idea. I haven't done this in my life. I don't know. Like I remember just like when my boyfriend died, sitting on the steps outside in the sun and going, where did he go? I mean, how can he not be here? And that shock and that complete lack of like your friends, it isn't happening to them. Your parents can't really help you because they're too old and you have no idea. You are just so lost. And I thought that he really captured all the different facets of that with each of the characters in the show, all the different possible reactions that you could have. So I was just amazed. And then, of course, my own personal grief, because when she comes in that door and she goes, Mom, I mean, I'm supposed to be dead. I'm like, tears are just, you know, I'm like in the audience watching the whole thing going, I know I'm not supposed to have these, but I mean, just like when they just like, they're just flowing down your cheeks. So it brought up so many memories for me. And so I felt, even though I was a body, I felt so alive during the filming of it because it just like, every grief reopens another one. And through that process, it's so wild now at the end of my life. All my friends are still alive, but we're all getting older, and you never know when they're going to go. And you realize, you know what, at this point in my life, I've had a lot of practice at this. I've had a lot of experience with it. So I have all these coping mechanisms that I've built over my life to sort of understand it, know how to process it, all of that. And then, but when you're young, you don't have any of that. And
15.
Oh my gosh, the amazing thing is when people come up to me in a con and they go, I lost my mother when I was 15, or I lost my dad, but most of the time it's their mother, and they're like, you helped me finish growing up. I mean, that is, like,
Jesus.
could you do anything better in the world with your life?
I hope you are so proud of that. Yeah.
True being a lawyer or a, doctor on ER, it was like, man, you guys, this is where it's happening.
It's I'm sure, Adam, you were thinking of, what I'm going to say next. Weirdly enough, Kristine, I lost my ex-boyfriend on July 6th, and 8 years later, my mom passed on the exact same day, which was so weird. And so like, every time I say it out loud, I'm like, this sounds like a lie. This sounds made up, because it's such a weird coincidence. And honestly, like, rewatching the body still, I made me cry before I had all, that loss. And then now, oh boy. Yeah.
It's rough. My heart goes out to you.
Thank you.
It's also an amazing thing because I think going through death, losing someone, it's one of the most profound things that can happen to you. I don't know. I listen to Cooper Anderson all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because I just really feel so strongly that it is in that pain that we learn how to live.
Yeah.
And, so it's all still really painful, but I love to tap back into the grief that I feel because this is what makes me feel alive. It's an amazing thing how that happens,
I like that framing. I do. I like that framing of it.
Yeah.
I found it to be very clarifying that it just things that I'm so worried about or thought were so important to in grief moments, it always just falls away. And there is this sort of dullness where that used to be. And it just was like, oh, I guess I didn't need that. It really just burns away everything else you don't need, because it's like, well, I lost something that was just so much more important. So if I can emerge through that, you just kind of like it just recenters everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think more as you struggle with it more and more, and as you struggle with other things that bring you grief that aren't necessarily the loss of someone, but like it's so I find that I'm able to say in a way that I never could before when I was younger, yeah, I got to do this really awful thing tomorrow that's really anxiety producing, but I'm alive.
Yeah.
I'm
I
alive.
like
And
that.
that is so key that I just don't feel the anxiety that much. It's like, oh, I'll get through it. But I'm alive today. That's like awesome.
Man, Kristine,
So
I'm going to have you as my life coach. This is good.
no, it's such a journey. I mean, we never stop growing up. That's what I loved about Buffy is, if you're living right, you're never grown up. You're always going, oh yeah. Yeah, it's always getting better and better. Even if it gets worse and worse,
Yeah. You mentioned that you did know Joyce was going to pass.
Yes.
I've heard us like, because Buffy, like you said, existed when the internet was kind of in early stages. There are so many things that it's funny that I remember reading on like a posting board when I was like 16 that people will still say as a fact. And it's like, well, I think that was just a rumor. The story is always that Joss took you aside like a year before to tell you that Joyce was going to pass. Is that how that went?
Yeah, but the only reason that he had to was because I made an appointment with him because I had this opportunity to go and live in Italy for a year.
Okay.
And so I really wrestled with whether I was going to go or not. And because I didn't know, I didn't have like a full on contract for Buffy. So I
Okay.
could do anything I wanted to, but I also didn't know what they intended to do with me. And I didn't want to leave the show, but I also knew that in the big scheme of life, going there for a year and having the opportunity to do this would be absolutely life changing. And it was.
Yeah.
So I had to go tell him that I was going to go away. So I made an appointment with him and I went in and I said, I'm planning on going to Italy next year to live. And he said, um, okay. He goes, are you coming back? And I went, yeah, I'm just going to be there for a year and then we're coming back. He goes, oh, good, because I'm going to kill you off. But I just want to make sure you're around. And I said, listen, I'm going there. I'm going to be in Italy. If, I'm happy to fly back and do episodes, but I just need to do this thing for myself. So he said, cool. And he said, don't tell anybody. So I didn't. I am, such a good little girl.
I would have been like, I won't tell anyone and then tell 10 people immediately.
Right.
So my husband knew, and he never told anybody either. So, yeah, I did 4 episodes that year. And like 2 before I left and 2, I think in January, and they planned it out. And so when I came back, that was season 3?
You were away for season 4.
Okay, so that was season 4. And so I came back knowing, it was this such a long period of knowing that it was going to be over. Like, of course, like, wouldn't the show be over at some point?
Right.
But that you were going to get killed off was, it was really going to be a ending. And so it was very bittersweet. And of course, every week I didn't go in and go, so when is it happening?
Right.
I'm just not that kind of a person. I show up and, oh, I've got a new daughter today. Okay, cool. I can handle that.
Sure, yeah.
Just like give me the set of imaginary circumstances. I'm coming in. And but we would get our scripts. We wouldn't get our scripts until like sometimes the day before, but maybe 2 days before.
Oof.
And everybody would be like, reading them, and I'm reading them and going. So I didn't know when it was going to happen. And when I was in the hospital, right before, I thought that it was going to happen then. And then suddenly I had this date and everything was great. And we shot that at the end of the season. So when I shot that, I didn't know I was just about to die.
Yeah. Huh.
And they used that to open that season. It was interesting that he chose to shoot that before anybody knew that I was going to die.
Do you remember when was everyone else told before they got the script for the body, or was it kind of like they didn't find out till then?
Yeah, I don't think they did.
Huh.
I mean, Sarah may have known because she was, such an integral part of,
Yeah.
she was like, as when they said when we first started the show, I think one of the producers said, yeah, she's 19 going on 50. I mean, she was such a seasoned pro, and she, was never quiet about what she thought needed to happen. She
Kristine, that is the most consistent thing every actor has said that I've had on from Buffy is she knew all her lines. She never messed up. She was like a pro from the start.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I learned a lot from her.
Thank you so much for giving us your time and talking with us.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. It's always a pleasure and a joy to talk about Buffy, and you guys are fantastic.
Doing this podcast has been really nice because I don't think I've had a bad experience with anyone I've interviewed, but it's always nice. Like, I grew up seeing you. You were the mom, and it's always nice when those people are extremely sweet, like you are.
Great.
Energy matches.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anytime.
And even like we talked to her about how like this show was one of those things, and I say this all the time, where like every part was working at 100%, and that's why they were able to do an episode like this, I think. Like, I don't think, no hate, whatever, Charm could not have pulled this off, right? Like,
No.
I don't know that a lot of other shows could have pulled this
Correct.
off.
I think that also, like, it came at the right moment to start playing with the form.
Yes.
Because you're at season 5, that's kind of when it's like you got the rote way they do the thing, and Charm basically kind of kept the same structure of every episode, and like, but around this time, that's why Body and Once More with Feeling pop so hard, is because everything around it is getting, these seasons are good, but like the episodes are these are the ones where like, seasons 2 and 3, I'm like, every episode had its own little flavor. And I think this was probably the season where things were starting to get more serialized and samey. And then like it happened at the exact right moment to really completely pull the rug out structure wise and, completely blow expectations away.
Eric, give us your overall thoughts on it, because I saw your post on it and I really liked what you said.
I really think it's one of the best episodes of television ever, and probably the best episode of Buffy. I mean, it's up there with Once More with Feeling. I go back and forth. To ask me tomorrow, I might say Once More with Feeling, but the body is good, and the body is good because every human being can relate to this episode. There's never been anything that approximates the feeling of learning somebody that you love died on TV as well as this episode, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like it's just so right there. Anyone who's ever lost anyone suddenly, I think there's a difference when you lose somebody on slow, prolonged disease, but when you suddenly lose somebody, it's this episode. Like he got it. And I mean, I know we didn't I think his mom died. I forget what he based it on, but like you can tell it's from experience. There's,
Yeah, he talks about that.
I really think it's great. Like, I just think it's just, and it is hard to watch over and over again. It's often the ones when I'm doing like my own personal season 5 rewatch, whatever. I'm like, I can't watch this one right now.
I skip it.
Yeah,
I skip it.
It's not.
I get nervous leading up to. I'm like, I can watch like 3 episodes before. I think it's like this one, the Sopranos with Adriana, where I'm like. Episodes leading up
you
to
gotta
it,
double check. You gotta check the episode list to make sure you're good on timing on when it's coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, Eric, what you said was so nice, because I'm like, there's the part of this episode, like even when Ian said like, hey, we're gonna come on and do the body, like that, whenever I think of when I'm reminded of that show, one moment in particular like pops out, and it's
me too.
Weirdly the moment after she throws up and she's looking at the wind chimes.
I was gonna say the same thing. It's
because and I think that's the part about, it's not just like grief and someone dying. It's like the minutes, the not
the slowness of it,
the wind chimes. And this is the other thing I remember is she can hear the kids playing in the pool in the backyard, and it's that feeling of like, how are you allowed to just go on like nothing's?
I know those kids piss me off every time I watch it.
You know what I mean? But I remember that because it's like, look, I think everyone's going to have to talk about like deaths in their family in this episode, because we all, like when my oldest brother died, like it was this feeling of you don't get to the world. You don't get to just keep going and be normal and smile and laugh and do things now. Don't you know that everything's over? Like, don't you know that we're in horrible pain? And no, the world doesn't care.
Yeah.
You know, it's that day for everybody someday, you know, and it's just, but that moment with the wind chimes and the kids playing, that's the most real moment to me in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I share that with Adam.
Thank you. Because I don't even like maybe necessarily. I had this maybe a cousin reaction to that where I'm like, I'm not like pissed at the kids and I just kind of, it's the ambience. I think for me it's the wind that does it, because it is this thing, and this is something that I didn't even realize until we were talking with Kristine Sutherland yesterday, and she said, you know, something about when you're losing someone and those kind of moments afterwards. The wind kind of made me think about this, because it's just like, it's the strangeness of everything is the same. You're just this person. This thing has vanished, and she was saying, she was like, "Well, where did he go? You know, where? You know, I don't understand. Like, it's I have more of a like, and that this was something when I had my death. It was this quiet. Everything was so quiet, and you're not playing music, and because also here's the other thing. I played music once, and I was like, I turned it off because
it's like way overstimulating. It's too much.
And it permanently fucks that song. I also was just like, and unfortunately it was like the first ever time I was hearing Chappell Roan's new music. So like, I kind of can't clock back into that music right now, so another few, but I was like, that was why I'm like, oh, you need everything kind of off. And so usually those moments are very still, and this episode quite intentionally doesn't have score or music or anything to sort of protect you, or like you're just left in this, absence where there should be a presence, and a presence where there should be an absence. Is this just something's wrong, and it's the sort of something's wrongness of that. And like, yes, the wind blowing kind of always reminds me of just like the world is the same, everything's the same.
Well, in a show that everything is wrong every episode, but in such a different way that it shocks you to your core when you get to this one, and things are wrong in a too real of a way, right? Like, you can't really fight your way out of this one.
And it taps into this because there has been obviously major, shocking, horrible deaths in Buffy before that really affected Buffy. Like, even like, how she deals with like Jenny Calendar and a bunch of other things, or, Killing Angel, these sort of things. And it's kind of like when you're in your real life and like you encounter, someone who's maybe not too close to you, but is a little bit, or you like someone, loses somebody, and there is, it's horrible, but it's still filled with a lot of things. But when it is your closest person, that's when the music vanished. That's when you are in just a sort of a soundless space.
And also the music, when in sad TV shows and movies, whatever, the music can be like a crutch. Like, it's like, it can make you feel things. And to not use it and be like, we're just not going to use that crutch was ballsy.
And you're still gonna fucking cry.
And you're still gonna cry. Yeah, it's so.
But like what you were saying, I think the music is a crutch. It is a more controlled way to like form your emotion, right? Like it's guiding you like a magnet where it wants you to go. And when you have no music or those crutches, it's just you're going wherever you're gonna go. And it's, I don't know, it's like why we watch horror movies. We go into a horror movie because it's like controlling that anxiety, right? But this episode is so uncontrollable that you don't know when you're gonna lose it,
and the just even the fucking opening, Sarah Michelle Gellar's acting is
a good job getting into it.
She fucking nails it from the moment she walks in there. And Kristine told Adam and I, right, Adam, that she was laying there crying because it was just so sad watching Sarah / Buffy be so sad.
And it's just, you can't imagine how many takes that had to be, because of it. In general, like you'd have to yell cut if she breathes too heavily, I imagine there were so many times.
Well, in the commentary, so Zach and I listened with the commentary from Joss Whedon himself, and right, Zach, I put it down. He said, what, they did 7-8 takes of that one tracking shot of her with her mom. And that he says in the commentary that she nailed it every single time, which I do fully believe that she did, because she knows what she's doing. And it's it's wild because this is also such different acting. Like Adam, you were saying, we've seen her react to death, and it is still good. It's not like that's bad acting when she's sad about killing Angel. She's good, but this is something so different.
Well, she does something really specific in this episode too. Her physicality completely changes, right? When she walks into this episode, she is bouncy, her shoulders are up, she is still like going. And the very moment all of this like unfolds for her, she is like shrunken, her shoulders are forward, and she looks incredibly emaciated in that red sweater, right?
She looks
like
tiny.
The bun pulled back. She looks it's insane how from that very first shot to just right after, she looks like she has shrunk like a whole 5 feet, right? Like she looks sickly, and that's her.
When she's pale and on from throwing up, and then just rapidly dehydrates in front of the camera, and she's not even really she's not even really crying, but you can just see, and that just because again, it's like when all of these other deaths have happened, she is in her body. She is in control of her body. She's punching the sword. She's doing things. She's running. She's reacting. She's the Slayer. And then you just see like she's clutching this little bone, and she's doesn't know what to do. And she like this is the first time you've seen Buffy kind of not know what to do.
Yeah, this is the youngest she's ever felt. Like
right.
And so post credits, we get the scene of Christmas dinner. And Joss in the commentary, I thought that was like really interesting, right, Zach? If you want to.
Well, the part where he wishes that he was thinking afterwards. So like after he filmed it, I guess it's like way after the episode was already done. He wished that he would have gone in and had Joyce just like collecting everybody's plates so that it like reminded us that she was a constant presence in everybody's lives. But I still think this was as effective. I think she was still like,
she was at her house, her dinner.
Yeah, it was. This is all her, right? Buffy wasn't doing this.
Buffy forgot to pick up the ingredients.
Buffy forgot it was Christmas.
The hard cut from her dropping the plate to body. It's like
so cool. So cool.
Yeah,
because we already jump when it drops too. You know.
Yes.
And they make it very charming. They like, and he says in the commentary he wanted one last like flirty Joyce Giles moment, and it's like we get to see the way when Buffy's like jokingly terrorizing her mom, and they make Joyce. I feel like she looks more glamorous than she normally. Like she's wearing like a leopard print outfit, and like she looks good. She's like breezy. She's like fun. Her and Buffy are joking, and then she drops the fucking pan, and we get that cut to.
Well, and I think it's one of those rare moments where we get to kind of see through her perspective as well. Is like these are like conversations that she's probably heard a lot around this group, like so bizarre, and like we only get the sliver of it because she walks off into the kitchen, and
right, because we learn Santa's real, but he's mostly Krampus. Yeah,
she's not sticking her. She's not asked. She doesn't care to ask questions. No. She's just walking off. She's like, and it is nice to because we don't get that ever from her perspective,
Yeah,
I think it was really smart too, just from the TV perspective of like, do you want opening credits over any of the stuff with her and her mom on the couch and the body? No. So it's like, okay, well, let's do this thing that we can put the credits over so that we don't distract in any way from the actual moments between Buffy and, with her mom's body.
And he just says that in the commentary that he specifically made it just as long as the credits because he didn't want the credits to distract from what was happening. And I do think that is correct, right? Like I do think
pretty
that
brilliant.
Is, yeah.
I do have a question for y'all who watched it like live. Did y'all watch it live? Y'all watched it as it came out? Okay, so what were you thinking? Yeah, she's dead, or were you thinking I don't know some supernatural thing was coming in, or?
I definitely thought she was dead. I could tell where this was going, and the fact that her eyes were open, and it just I just knew that this was a real thing, that they weren't going to pull any punches. Yeah, I knew that this was it.
So actually that brings me, I forgot, I wanted to say how, I meant to tell Kristine this when we interviewed her, Adam, that The Body was one of the last episodes I caught. Like I had missed it when it aired, and I remember having to keep up with FX's airing schedule so I could make sure I watched it. And I woke up, I was sick, I had strep throat, and I woke up at 7 a.m. so I could watch The Body when they were playing it, and it was the first time I ever watched it, and I had fucking strep throat, and I felt disgusting after watching this. Just like I was already sick and snotty, and then I watched something that made me like weep for 45 minutes straight. And I remember just feeling like so much worse after watching this.
Yeah.
And like that's like a very specific first, like I don't remember my first watch of every Buffy episode, but I remember that one. Because I really do think it was the last episode I hadn't seen yet. And because y'all remember when it would go on FX, they would do like the reruns, and they would put up the schedule on their website of what episode would be when.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember waking up to tape it and then just being like, "This was a mistake. Fuck." Because yeah. And so, I gotta, most people who listen to the podcast know this, but my mom and my ex-boyfriend died same day, 8 years apart. And with Chris, my ex-boyfriend, I found him unexpectedly. It was like out of nowhere, dead in his bed. He was my roommate, and me and my friend Kevin found him. And all of the things, and Joss even jokes that he uses the word physicality a lot in the commentary because he does. All of the physicality she does here is, I went through that. Like, I remember calling 911. Chris was dead. I knew that body was dead. And they were like, "Oh, you should do CPR." And I'm like, "He's dead. This body is cold. It is dead." And he had there was a little bit of throw up and it just being like, "No, this is dead." I thought of this. I was like, I can't live with the idea of touching him and breaking a bone. Like, I just cannot. And also, a dead body just feels dead. I don't know. I just touched his arm and I was like, "Ugh, I don't want to touch him because that's not him. He's dead." No. And I just remember thinking so much of Buffy being like, if I do CPR and I break something, I will not be able, already not, this isn't a fun situation, but I will lose my mind if I break something. So I just knew he was dead. And we went outside waiting for the police after we called. And I remember the exact, hearing children play and being just feeling like I was disassociating. I remember I could feel like I was watching myself, and my super came up to me. He saw me and my roommate outside, and I had to tell him, and it was very awkward because we barely knew each other. And when Buffy says "Thank you, good luck," I know that's how I was talking to him. I know that I probably sounded like a crazy person. And Adam, you can probably vouch for this because I called Adam a few hours after finding Chris. And
I got the fucking Giles call. It was really, and I still remember exactly where I was. My first day of, it was my first day of work, and I was on a lunch break, and I had my own little point of innocence where it was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And it's that whole "what you doing" kind of energy that always precedes, whatever terrible thing. And it was another kind of time of quietness, and this is something where, as I've gone on and had my own moments where I'm dealing with something right now, and I start to have this because when I'm normally talking on the show, if you hear me on the show before, I'm like, yeah, la 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 with a lot of and then this is I'm having a lot of short of breath, glottal stop, sentence fragment kind of and that's why when I was on the phone with you, I just remember having a lot of just yeah, it's okay. Because it's also that thing kind of Willow has as well, which is just I have to say all the right things because I will make the situation worse if I don't really make it smooth or do something or don't. It's it was one of those things where you don't know what to say. Where it's I will piss somebody off if I try to talk normally, or I've had some times where I've talked really awkwardly and they're "I'm begging you, please just talk normally, that will center me." And everybody's different, but also it just reminds me of this there was this movie Moonlight Mile with Susan Sarandon, where it's they lose their daughter, and she's mad that everybody's sending all these letters and flowers and whatnot, and then she gets mad later that this person didn't send letters or flowers, and her husband's just "Well, you're mad at this and then you're mad at that." And she's "Yes, I'm mad that this happened and I'm mad that that happened. Yes, I'm mad that it all happened." Just, you're kind of in this space where it's just my body and brain completely reject every kind of part of this.
And sorry, Eric, you're walking through my trauma. And also when I called 911 for my mom, Zach, you got my call after that. And I can remember both times talking to either of you. Adam, I think I was sitting outside of my apartment, on the steps talking to you. And Zach, when I called you, I was sitting at the top of my steps and they had just left and I didn't know what to do. And you're right, Adam, it is a quiet where it's well, I don't know what I'm saying, but I don't want to not be having companionship right now.
You start to like say automated phrases, and you just start to like kind of you're talking, and that's why she says good luck, thank you with the thing. Like you're just
interacting in the world is really weird after that. I remember I had a friend who died, and back in college, and I just remember going through like a drive-through right after that and grabbing, because I was like, for some reason I didn't want to drink Dr. Pepper, and I was like, I'm gonna get a fucking Dr. Pepper, and so I went through the drive-through, and just interacting in the world felt super bizarre, and like I was like puffy faced and crying, and they like didn't acknowledge it, and I thought that was fucking weird that nobody like, but like I don't know, why are you gonna acknowledge some random person crying in a drive? And just the whole thing felt just wrong.
Well, it's that thing of like, why isn't everyone around me psychically intuiting what just happened? And of course they don't know. You could have been crying over some bullshit, you know, but they don't know. But you are mad. You are mad when people don't acknowledge. It's like you're mad at the world, and it's a very strange feeling.
Also, when the cops came, the first thing they asked me is if Chris was a drug addict, and I just remember being like, "What?" And the other cop being like, "Don't ask that now." And it was so weird, and like, why the fuck was that the first thing he said to me? And it's because he saw a gay guy in New York and was like, oh, probably drugs. And like, no, it was diabetes, asshole. But like all of that stuff, I remember so clearly. But like here, where Buffy's not seeing their faces, I couldn't tell you what any single person I talked to that day or met that day looked like, what their name was, what their voice sounded like, or anything. And we get the Buffy, like her imagining them reviving her, right? And I can remember staring at Chris being like, just open your eyes, just open, like trying to like will him to open his eyes, and it doesn't work. But I feel like everyone has this of like, well, maybe they'll be okay, maybe something will happen, maybe something will change. And Joss in the commentary says that the experience, like time does feel like it's stopping, and it feels like you're trying to like, you're not there. And I don't know. I feel like the writing is so there, and Sarah Michelle Gellar's acting is so there. Like,
this is the episode where you really get mad that the Emmys totally ignored this show. If there was ever a moment, like, come the fuck on.
I should go back and retroactively do it.
Was nominated, but like, again, they were so like genre allergic for
probably
so
like
long.
ER.
They're not much better now.
No, and this is something where the time stopping is an interesting observation, because this is often how I feel like it's almost like when it's this time stopping moment, it's almost like it does stop, and you're kind of not here or there because your world is rapidly changing. And this is sort of the few hours where you are being violently shifted into a parallel universe where everything's the same, just it does not include this person anymore. And I just think you were literally being shifted into another dimension. A worse, stupider dimension. And it's that way every time. And then you just are flooded with like, it's just like your body has to just adjust to this new thing. And where it's like you keep forgetting they're not right there or whatever.
And Joss says go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I still like sometimes, think I hear my dad downstairs. You know what I mean? Like like there's certain like I'm like, oh, my dad's checking his diabetic, whatever it is, and it's like, oh no, it's been almost 7 years, and I still think like and it's like, I have to remind myself, like, they're not there.
And Joss says in the commentary that when Buffy's staring at the phone and kind of like blurs in and out of like staring, like that's when she realizes that her mother is dead and not coming back.
That's the moment. And that's the moment we get our first cut, because then she's into the reality and having to like actually be proactive about the reality. And Giles, it's just brilliant getting a whole like separate lens just for the phone. He said they went through like a bunch of different lenses just to get the phone right and get the phone just feeling so like unreal.
And Zach isn't listening to his commentary like weird like masterclass in like.
Oh, you should listen to all the commentaries for all the episodes. Like it's just one of the best shows of all time, right? So Should know how it's made.
They're not all this good, though, I will say.
They are all this good, all of them. Even the Jonathan episode.
But I when Giles walks in and when she surprises herself by saying, like, you can't touch the body, and then freaks. Oof.
Yeah.
My heart. And, like, Giles is so good, and he just runs up and hugs her. Like, he just gives her a big hug, and she cries, and fuck, kills me.
Yeah.
I'm dissociating right now. Just thinking about it.
I know. I honestly feel like I don't even have anything to add. I'm like, oh shit. It's just
I have something to add. Bad. No.
Too much.
I think sad.
No, I'm also like, what would I like? Would I want him to touch me? Probably not. But also, would I need him to touch me? Probably, because I might like collapse or
Yeah. And I think that's Buffy would have collapsed. I think if he didn't run up to her,
because she looks so small and so tiny and
so
frail.
yeah.
He has never looked bigger than her, right?
Yeah.
Like so much bigger than her.
Yeah.
And like Joss said that he tried to squeeze her into the frames with this, and like when she's talking to the paramedic, like she feels like she's being squished into frame and she feels tiny, and how like fully on purpose that is, which duh. I love that Giles thinks it's glory. Like Giles is like, oh, well, like he's trying to help, but he can't. And Buffy is like, I have to go to Dawn. And then
because the world they live in, they jump into action with shit like this. When Jenny Calendar happened, right? He ran and got a fucking torch. And that he had a thing to do. They don't have anything to do, you know?
Right.
They have to let the outsiders do it, you know?
Yeah.
The paramedics have to come and take the body, and they have no power here anymore.
I mean, this is like their 5th year of like having a big bad, and then like of course it's like glory, we have to figure this out. It's like no, there's nothing. This is a very boring, awful human reason. This is like
And this episode too, like it made me also think about like, oh my god, please God, I don't want to die. Like I don't want to be found. You know what I mean? Like this, not put it in my head in a big way. Like I don't want anyone to have to find me.
Yeah.
Like because of the trauma of this this episode, I was like, and I would think about it all the time, especially when I had strange men over, you know, but it was like, you know, like, oh my God, what if they find me in some weird, you know, outfit I hate? You know, this is so stupid. It's so stupid, but like it makes you think that, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I when they came to get my mom, they had to do, I forget, I don't even remember what it was, but they had to like open her shirt, and my mom was a diabetic and she was having a super bad low, so she was slurring, and she tried to get them to stop, and me and my dad like kind of like walked to the doorway because we think she was like, I think she's getting embarrassed because her shirt has to be open in front of us, like this. And like it is such a like weird thing, right? Because like the paramedics are doing what they need to do, but like also I would probably think of that too if
we still have our human dignities and stuff, right?
Yeah,
like it just seems wrong, even with a body, you know, and them having to cut her like open, and it just it's so it is the job, it is the routine, that is what you do, that is the procedure, but it just feels like we're stripping that person, this vessel that was once a person, of all of their dignity, right? Of all of their, and it's
it's when I lost my dog a few years ago, and it was like he had been for 15 years, was like very close, and we brought, you know, we were lucky that we were able to like make the decision when and be there and everything, and we brought him in, and then when he passed, when it was over, this is the part that's always like an intrusive thought for like years later still, where like we just had to leave, and there was no one in the room, it was just his body there, and his ear was still like pricked up, like it just looked alive, and it was like I had never ever intentionally left him before, and I had to like do that, and I was like, why would I do that? I've promised I would never. I've taken him everywhere. I would never just like walk away and be like goodbye forever. And it's like you have to do that, and I
did do that with Bronson as well. When Bronson died, like those are our kids. Those are our kids. I won't let anybody tell me otherwise. But when same thing happened with Bronson. I mean, I had to take him to have him put down. I took him in a blanket and had to leave with the blanket and hand him to these people I didn't fucking know, and
it was terrible.
It's weird.
It's so weird. We were in the parking lot, and it was so quiet, and it was the wind chime, fucking cursed wind chime moment all over again. We were in the parking lot. It was just the wind, and like kind of a similar, like, a stupid thought arrives, and it's just like it's too late. Where I was like, because like, you know, I didn't, like, I freaked out because I didn't touch his head while they were doing it, because I was like looking at him and I was speaking to him, but I was like, why didn't I like touch him? Because he couldn't see too well by the end. So I was just like, why didn't I touch him? Why didn't I put my hand? He didn't know. He didn't know I was there. Like, you kind of go into this weird, let me quickly edit that moment. Like, let me just change how I did that. And then you're just the sort of finality, the coldness of just like, it's a brick wall. It is so immovably done. And you just feel that in every part of this show.
You know, I think I've told Adam and Zach this already, but like when Chris died and they had to come get him, it was all like, it was awful. It was so hot, and it was New York, and like so I always see a lot of people saying they would not leave the body there. That happened to me. It was New York. It took them forever to come. And then they were like, we have a lot of other calls. We have to go. You have to stay here. And so we had to stay there and wait. And they like had a cop there, and it was like 6 hours. We waited in our
my God,
85-degree temperature apartment. At one point I was like, we should get lunch, because we hadn't eaten all day, and it was like 3:30. And I remember the cop being like, yeah, you just have to eat it here, because it was like still technically a crime scene.
Oh God.
And I remember he was like, and this is just like a detail I remember, he was like so big he didn't fit. We had a breakfast, we had like a nook for our kitchen, and he like didn't fit in there, and a screw fell out when he was like trying to get up, because it was like so tight. And I always think of that, like how awkward that was for everyone, and he just didn't say anything, he was just looking at his phone. And you know, I remember them asking like, do you want to go in to see him before we take the body? And we were both like, nope, I've already looked at this body enough. I'm good. And then with my mom, everyone made us go, and I didn't want to go. She was not there. She was just like kind of a breathing body. And I feel like I might have even talked to you before it, Zach, of like, I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
And I still wish I didn't go. Like I did not.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you on that. I'm sorry.
I think once you've seen the dead body, you don't need to see it. And like, if she had been there a little bit more, I would have been like, yeah, we should go. But she was fully not there. Her pulse was like the lowest it can be that you're still alive when we got there. And I'm like always so mad that everyone made me go, because seeing a dead body is miserable.
Yeah. When my father died in the hospital, I didn't. My mom asked me. My mom wanted to see. She's like, I want to go. She's like, do you want to? I said, I don't want to remember. I don't want to have that memory. My last memory of him was bad enough. He was basically out of it. But like, I just didn't. I didn't want. And I'm glad now. Like, I don't want to have my last memory of him. For my mom at work. For my mom, it was important. Like, and I don't think she regretted it. But like, I know me. I didn't want to see his dead body.
Well, my thing with you, Ian, is that I feel like I just knowing you, I feel like you would have never stopped stewing over that.
And that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm like, it's any way you slice it, but it's just, I don't know. There was something about kind of staying in that room that like, like that
it erases the question mark. There's no question mark there anymore, you know?
It's in my head. It's in my goddamn head. And it just appears whenever it feels like, and it's
whenever, you know.
Yeah. And it will usually be when I'm like having such a great and it's just like
our brains are like, fuck you.
Do I hate myself? Like, why am I doing it? And it is that thing where like you said with the kids, where I'm like, I'm in a way mad that I'm sitting here having a great time and he's gone. And that's not right. That's not correct at all. And it is that thing where it's easier said than done, you know, but it's like, it is that thing where you're like, yes, you know, you're accessing not joy maybe, but like you're accessing, you can see a path in the future that does not include this person.
Yeah.
I think you also hyper fixate on like just mundane details. Like, again, when my father died, like we had been all night in the hospital. I kind of knew that we all kind of knew the next day he was probably going to go, but I had to come home and shower. So I remember coming home and thinking, looking at everything and thinking like the next time I'm in here, he won't be alive. Like the weird, and I still think about that sometimes. Like the next time I'm here, this person isn't going to exist. And like, right now they exist, but in a few hours they're not. And this weird and hyper focusing on weird shit. And yeah. Anyways, this episode really captures the hyper focusing on
it really does. It really does.
Well, it does it in such like a different way too, right? Because usually when we see death on this show, like our characters are involved in that process, right? So it is like a thing that like maybe we can stop, maybe we can do this. She arrives and her mother's already dead. Like it's a very, very different sort of experience. There is you are entering an aftermath that you are not able to do anything about, So it's very, I don't know. I think the episode like applies to all, but it is also like the situation is very, very specific.
Yeah. So wait, let's talk about Dawn. I don't
want to do this one.
This one breaks my fucking heart even more so now.
I did not realize that the 25th anniversary was so close to her.
I know.
Passing as well.
Because it was just last week that it was a year, I think.
Yeah.
And Joss said that he purposely wrote this as like the thing he repeats aside from physicality, right, Zach, is that life still goes on. And he wanted to have a lot of those moments where like Buffy's life is being ruined.
That she's whining in the bathroom.
And Dawn is crying in the bathroom over a boy, right? But that's so real, right?
You know what? Nobody's ever allowed to talk about her fucking being whiny anymore because you look at what she went through this one season, her first season on the show. She's allowed to have all the passes.
Yes, honestly. And Adam, you write YA, so I'm curious, what do you think of this scene? Like she's a teen.
It's very, and in general, this goes to my feelings on like teen media, because I think like when I write YA, when I write teen stuff, it tends to be more how, Buffy and everybody else was a teen, like there is they feel older kind of thing. And I kind of write it where they kind of feel older. And it's like Dawn always felt like, even though she's probably like I don't know how the ages work, but like that's the thing where I'm like, Dawn's story, even though it was kind of close to how we were in season 1, her storylines always feel like deeply childish.
There's only supposed to be a 5-year age difference between us. But you forget that all the time.
Right. And so, this is great. It is the type of thing where, and in my books, they're always dealing with like much serious stuff than like the little things that, I refuse to watch the episode again. Is this something, because she's crying, but it's about like a boy did something.
I think a girl in front of the boy she likes called her like a stank or something.
Freaky. Called her freaky. He said he didn't say you were a freak. He said you're freaky. It's a good. The comedy's there.
Yeah.
It's a nice break.
But I'm like, it is that thing where it's beautifully done because you do. There is always that thing after a terrible thing has happened, whatever it is, where you just remember the thing you were so upset about 20 minutes earlier that does not matter, that you would pay $50,000 to go back and only be experiencing that misery.
Well, and technically, I think they did a really great job in forming the episode too, because like we were saying, like all these hyperfixations, you remember exactly where we were, who was with you, blah, 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 blah. Our side character here, her friend, like fully remember her, always remember her. And so if this episode is acting like me going through trauma with them, I remember where we were with Dawn and who was with her, right? Like, so they just do a brilliant job with all of these little moments and translating that from episode to viewer.
Yeah.
And all those kids also, he really captured the whole thing of like when you're adjacent to a really horrible tragedy or something, and it's not involving you, but you feel almost like I shouldn't be here for this.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't be watching this. Like you know what I mean? Like I've had that happen, and where it's like, oh, you're seeing people get horrible news. And I'm like, this isn't my news.
Yeah.
Like I'm intruding.
What's a specific detail of that is the teacher's face. It made me cry just seeing her face.
Yeah.
Because
and
it's
the slow move towards like the window or
Yeah, and like, God, like Dawn has been through so much, and you understand why she's like, no, tell me right now, because Joss says in the commentary that like when Dawn sees Buffy, she knows, and you can see it. Michelle does some really good acting there, where when she turns, she's smiling and she's just like, what? And just like her face fully drops.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I feel so bad for Dawn because she is a kid and she's like, no, tell me right now, is mom okay? And like her whole class gets to watch her have a breakdown. And fuck. It's like compounding this bad news with more bad shit and like adding a little bit of humiliation in there. Like, fuck.
Right.
Also, that teacher looks a lot like Joyce. I always think that every time I watch this.
Do you? I've never thought about that.
Yeah. She has like,
I can't decide also if it's like worse that we are made to be inside the classroom and we can't get her reaction, or if like her reaction would have been worse. Probably inside the classroom, right? Because I don't know, again, then you get to you get to be in the moment more. I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
I liked what he said in the commentary, that they did film it a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different angles. And that he said the last time he filmed it, he did inside the classroom. And that was a take he went with.
I guess inside the classroom is just a lot more helpless, right? And so that's what we're going for in this entire episode. So that makes sense.
And he said that he felt like Sarah already gave the performance of finding out. We knew Dawn would be upset. And then we cut to Willow crying. So he was like, he wanted to have like
it's a lot of compounded onto each other. Because once we hit Anya, I'm done with the fucking episode. I'm like, we've got to move on, baby.
Yeah, we go to the dorm. I didn't even remember this, but the commentary, this is so interesting. So Xander and Anya arrive in the car, and we pan up to Tara looking out the window.
They're on a rooftop.
And they're on a rooftop.
I thought that
they
was
just
cool, yeah.
built a fake front of a wall, and Amber Benson was on a rooftop. And that's how they shot it, so they could go from the car into the dorm room, which I thought was kind of interesting, right? Like, and man, Amber Benson, she exudes warmth, and I feel like Tara, she does such a good job with Tara's warmth here, where Tara's more understanding. We learned Tara's been through this. That's why she's more understanding. He did say that they did a few takes of Willow's freak out, and that every time him and the crew were all crying at the end of the take, which I could buy, right?
There's something in that scene too, like or right out where Xander starts talking about like it's the doctors, and it's like that's a very human thing that everyone is like when my dad died, my mom got really mad at the doctor, and I'm like,
my dad did too.
You have a point, but sometimes these things just happen.
Yeah,
and you have to talk people into like there's no amount of suing the doctors you can do that's going to bring it back.
And it's that, and it's Zach, I don't know if you've had this experience, but it was like 2 years later I'm still irrationally furious at my vet, and I'm just it's based in truth, but it was a lot of just like he was left to like he was like left alone for 3 hours after he was diagnosed, and then it was like they were going to run some tests, and they said like it was literally like they said, hey, we're finding a troubling thing. We're going to run some tests. We're going to keep him here. You guys, come back. And I just said, well, can you just run the test? Can I just come get him afterwards? And they were like, no, we need to have like a company all hands at the vet office. And we need to like wait until that's done. So leave him here. And then after the meeting's done, we're going to do the and so it was like 3 hours of that. And I was like, did you all need to?
It helps to have an outside sort of like force that you can be angry with, right? Because it's not affecting them. Your anger towards them doesn't affect them. And so it helps you more. So sure, be angry. It's loud.
It also happened at a perfect, because it was when we moved away from LA and moved to Palm Springs. And so it was just at that moment. And I was like, oh, I really we hadn't found a vet up here. So I was like, let's go back to LA for a second. I just like to see the vet down there. So like, that vet is like no longer our vet for our other dog. So I was like, great, I don't have to I can just safely be like bad vet. I don't have to engage with that and be like, oh, that's and then also part of me, Eric, like you were saying, like, oh, he could be just downstairs, and like I can just go I'm like, oh, he's just at our house, and he's just at our place in LA, and I can I'm just not seeing him because I can't go there right now. I'm really busy. And, it's whatever kind of gets you through the day. And I'm like a big fan of delusion.
Oh, yes, it's wonderful.
Delusion's amazing. Because I think like it's one of those things where I'm like, there's no like my husband and I always say this, there's no trophy, there's no stoic bitch of the year trophy for just being like, wow, you just handled every second of that reality. You like raw dog that reality. Yeah, like, yeah, good for you. You're like, I'm like, no, I'm gonna sit here and be deluded with, not harming anyone else, but I'm just like, I'm gonna sit here and like invent something if it gets me from this moment to the next.
So in the dorm, Willow is freaking out about what to wear, which did happen to me with Chris. I did every possible, like, I exfoliated, I like trimmed my hair, I was like doing anything to put off going. I was like doing everything and anything aside from like, oh, I got to go to his funeral, the day of his funeral. And I remember my friend Jason having to come into the bathroom, and we had lived together for 6 years. Zach and Adam have met Jason, and him coming into the bathroom being like, hey, and like sitting down in the toilet. I'm like in my underwear, still not dressed. And I'm like, I'm getting ready. And he's like, let's just put on our clothes. Like, let's just go. And I needed that because I was just circling the bathroom looking for I can shave some more. Like, I can do this. And I feel like that's very real. And Tara, as always, as she always is with the Scoobies, is the one that's like, it's okay. I understand. Like, Tara fully understands what Willow is doing. And
Tara's so good.
She is so good.
And it's like, she's so in communion with like death and passing in life. And it, like that she was even like at peace when she was in the middle of a bullet going through her. Just I know it was supposed to be like a surprise, like she didn't even realize it, like, oh, your shirt, but like she just seems like even if she was completely aware she had been shot, that would still be her response.
No, I agree.
Tara, no, bad, undo.
She's still alive here.
So they have their first on-screen kiss, and Amber said when we had her on the podcast that they did like a billion takes of this kiss, and that at first it was like them making out, and they submitted it with them making out, so that way the censors kept being like, no, you need to redo it, until they landed on, well, look, now this just like a sweet embrace, and then they let them do it, and that was the only way they like worked around, because the WB had like a no same-sex kiss rule, as like most stations did back then.
And maybe it wasn't even a same-sex kiss rule. Maybe they were like, no, they shouldn't make out right now. This is
no, I think it was the same. Yeah, it was the same side. Yeah.
But I
remember when Melrose Place had to cut away.
Always made me so like mad.
Oh, so stupid. I mean, at least it's one thing that's gone better with the world is that like that's just whatever now.
Yeah. In comes Xander and Anya. Joss talks a lot in the commentary. Also, I thought this was interesting, Zach, that they like built different sets so that way they could walk through them. Did you remember him saying? I don't know.
I don't remember him saying that.
So they because normally these sets are like segmented, so you're not really ever going from one to the other. So they built it again to like
they would build them out. They built them out. So like the set of the dorm room, they like built out the whole hallway and connected it all.
I did hear him say that. Okay, yes.
Okay.
And that's why they were able to do all those scenes of like even the doctor walking from the room into the Scoobies and how they like built all of that. And I'm surprised Buffy had the budget for that, honestly. I feel like it notoriously never had the budget. I love them all hugging. Joss talks about the four of them standing separately and how hard that was to shoot because they weren't supposed to move. It was supposed to be like, we're all stalled because we don't know what to do. And it's showing that the Scoobies normally jump into action, but they're, as y'all said, there's nothing for them to jump into action to here. This scene is really beautiful. I love this scene because we're seeing how they're dealing with it. Yeah. And it's not their mom, but it is kind of their mom, you know?
Well, it's an extension of grief to other people and the people in proximity and all of that. And that is, I mean, also, coming up and having to knowing you are about to go console somebody who is like, they don't know which state she's in. They've not seen her. They don't know if she's crying.
Right.
They know Dawn's fucking crying.
Right.
It is still like this big question mark for them as well, and they don't know how they're supposed to prepare and go in to handle something like this. And then extra person in the room too, off to the side with the remaster. Right, that's this episode. Yeah,
no.
The guy,
It's the next one. It's the next one. It's the next one. It's when Willow leaves the dorm room and Dawn's on the floor and she like has the book come out. You see the guy just standing in the corner.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yep. And he's just chilling there holding the boom mic. So, God, Anya is so good.
Oh, fruit punch.
Again, hold on. Let me bounce off what I was just saying too. Also, with each other, they're preparing to go to Buffy and all that, but also with each other, what is the permission on grief? Like, are we allowed to grieve here in this moment? Are we allowed to be sad with each other and stuff like that? And I think that's answered with Anya, right? It's like, at first they're like, no, you don't have permission for all of this. Like, calm down, like, get yourself together. And then she starts explaining, and it just,
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's so, I think also, and I've been thinking a lot about this lately, we've lost a lot of like cool people lately. Yeah. And I think like, I got this way about Catherine O'Hara, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Her. And like, but I'm like, she's a part of my life in all these different ways.
Yeah.
And I think it also, like, I've been thinking about this lately because wretched and awful the world is. Because I'm like, every time like someone like passes, I'm always just like, why is it not an evil person?
Yeah.
Another one that no
why
one.
Isn't it him?
Why isn't it him? February, we have one more day, please.
Like,
I think it every time.
It's not even like someone who was like, oh, their career, like they got me too or something like that. I'm like, it's always just someone who is just like, no one ever had a bad word to say about it. Yes, they came here and they brought sandwiches, and it's all some shit like that. And it always just like infuriates me because it's just like, and then I'm just like, all right, I know these rat bastards are gonna just be 98 and just go quietly, perfectly planned. And that's when I turn into like crazy uncle, because I'm just like, well, because they got the, they have like the sort of, the Congress medicine. They have special Congress medicine.
I mean, in his case, it's sort of true.
Yeah, but it is.
Joyce didn't get Congress medicine.
Trump would have died of COVID if he didn't have like the best access to medicine. Yeah. He wouldn't be here. And it's like, so you're not wrong.
I'm just like, you can't give Congress medicine to Catherine. I get so like fucked up about this. I'm like, no one ever has like a surprise like embolism.
Right.
It's always just like, well, we're watching, Mitch McConnell sort of just like melt like
decay.
He's looking at the art in front of it, like, but he's still going. How many years ago did he just straight up just?
In about 1,000 years, he'll be stuck in a church underneath the earth, under the high school.
Yeah.
Like it will be around forever.
Yes. And I'm just like, he has fallen. He has like gone away behind the eyes in front of the
we've watched in a press conference.
And everyone's always like, all right, this is it.
And it's like,
and then it's just like and 18 months later title card appears, and you're just like, oh, well, we've lost 30 more beloved people and 5 close family members, and Mitch McConnell's
he's still disassociating on camera, but it's still kicking somehow.
Medicine, goddammit.
I want to tell this story because this is recent. Emma Caulfield was on a podcast. I forget the name of it. I'll try to look it up while I'm talking about this. She was on a podcast recently where she talked about this scene in particular, and she had reposted it. The podcast is called The Steve Varley Show. And she talks about specifically this scene and how she had to pee the whole time. And that's all she was thinking about. And I saw her tell that story at a Comic-Con once too, which is such a Anya story for this like heartbreaking moment that all she could think of was, I have to pee. And hilariously, because this is how people comment, she told that story and someone commented on it saying, oh, the abuse of Joss Whedon, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, this is a funny story. I just had to pee. But yeah, this speech is one of the speeches I think of a lot. I mean, everyone
because I
deserved an Emmy,
don't
but
understand.
Ugh.
My goodness.
Well, it didn't Josh say, because I think I did listen to this commentary a million years ago, but he did say the Anya's sort of the like child in the room, like this sort of like, you know, like like that sort of, you know, that first exposure to it.
Mhm.
Yeah, he says that it's supposed to be like you think she's being insensitive, but actually she's being like the child where she's just not sure what to do. And I do like that we get Willow softening on her. Like Willow's still crying, but she's just like, we just don't know. Like Willow realizes what's happening and like, you know, she can barely stand Anya anyway.
Yeah.
But I do like that we see her like show some kindness. To be like, all right, I can't stand her, but
when these awful moments happen, it really does kind of like crumble away shit that really doesn't matter. You kind of start to like get along with people. And I've had these things sometimes where I'm like talking to somebody and my husband will be like, I thought you said you were done with them. And I'm like, yeah, I did. So,
But Joyce died. Joyce
I was
died.
like,
So
you're holding me to.
this doesn't count today. Like,
But he's Italian from Queens, and he's like, no, that's like you have to like light a candle and you know your finger, and it's like sealed and
dead to me forever.
Dead to me, yes. And so
Murder.
like, and
I'm
here I
really
am,
bad at that. I'm so
and I'm
bad
with
at
my
the dead forever thing.
Midwest. Like my Midwest, I walk between cursed world. I'm like, no, nothing. You know, nothing means anything. I will talk to anyone at any moment, probably, and that's leads. You know, it's a problem for me, but it's my Kenneth the Page sort of way of dealing with the world, where I'm just like, no, but we're friends. So, but that's kind of, again, that's another, like, each one of these moments is very real.
Yeah.
Like there's always like a guy who's not helping who punches the wall, and I'm like, thanks for helping.
We didn't need that at this moment either. Like, this is another thing.
Like,
come on, Xander.
But I mean, everybody hates Xander for that. Everybody hates Xander for that moment because it's like that guy's real. We know that guy. Do you know what I mean? That person, it's like a bunch of our straight relatives. You know what I mean? Like it's like so many straight men that we know. You know what I mean?
In the commentary, Joss does say that they become more themselves after he punches the wall, and I had never thought of this before, but it gives them something like an action,
something to do. There's an action to take. Yes. Oh, brilliant, amazing. Because also, like, it is, and we go right from that moment of very hyper fixating into this, because this is always what I think when I experience grief is they'll never brush their hair, they'll never do this, they'll never do that, they'll never do this, and so we are in this spiral of they'll never do this again, and like it's getting worse and everything, and then he punches the wall, and we are out of it. So, and
he also says in the commentary, which I loved, that when Xander when they get his hand out and he looks at his bloody fist, that he feels more alive. He realizes that pain is real. And that this will make me cry. That Tara understands that, and that's why she gives him like a half smile and like the kind eyes, because Tara fully understands that is the moment he is having of. Okay,
well, we hear that later too. It's always about blood.
Right, yeah. And like her kind eyes just fucking kill me, Jesus Christ.
There's so many, like, this is, I do think this scene is like, as great as the first scene is, this is the scene that has all the good dialogue, right? Like, all the dialogue is so memorable in this. Why do my shirts all have to have stupid things on them? And, you know,
oh my God. And I mean, everything Alison Hannigan does in this part just sticks with me. I mean, that's
her crying always like will kind of put me over the edge, right?
Oh, well, the line that always sticks with me here is the like, it's royal. I can't show up to Buffy looking all royal. I'm better than you. And I'm like, oh God, that's precisely where my brain would go. And has gone.
Yeah, the scene where, like, what you just mentioned about all my shirts have stupid things on. I literally have had, because really all my shirts do have stupid things on them. Like, you know, and so I've had to deal with that of like, oh my God, my friends just lost whoever. And I literally, like, I can't wear this stupid Star Wars shirt. I can't wear this. Like, it's like, that's so real.
Yeah, it is.
I was wearing, when I got this really bad news, I was wearing a Nick at Night shirt. And I was like, I got mad when I was like doing laundry. Then I like was the first time washing that shirt. And I really was just like, you dumb child. child. I was like,
Beyonce's on all my shirts.
I was like, why can't you? You're just like, what did you think? Everyone was just gonna be around forever, and you're gonna just stay in your little kid shirt. I just truly had a full Willow meltdown at the shirt. Yeah,
and then it's so strange because like then you don't really think that again. Like it's not like an action that you take that you come back to, and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go out and buy shirts for occasions like that. You never think of it again.
No,
it's truly so bizarre.
Oh no, I'm wearing a Beacon Barrel, which is the Pirates of the Caribbean bar at Disney World. I'm like,
why not do that one? I want that shirt. Okay.
Well, I mean, they actually don't have the shirt. I made it. That's what I published this. Yes.
I really want to go to that. But I just don't want to go to Florida right now.
So we go to the hospital. Joss said in the commentary they shot like so much footage of Kristine Sutherland laying there dead and like things going on around her because he wanted every cut to be, we see her dead body, we're reminded of what's happening, and then we go into the scene, which is really grim, but also like really true because it does just pop into your head. I mean, I remember recently, Zach, when we did an episode and you were like, then you asked me like, oh, well, how often do you think of Chris? And I was like, oh, I think of his dead body every day. Because I do. Like still, there's not a day that has gone by that I haven't thought of my ex-boyfriend's dead body in his bed because it just does pop in. And our brains just like to do that to us. And I like that we start on her, the doctor, and then the doctor walks to them.
Yeah. Well, and also, by the time we get to this point in the episode, we are kind of over the episode. We are exhausted by the episode. We're kind of ready for the episode to be over. And these people are exhausted. Buffy is exhausted. She is so emotionally depleted by the time she gets to fighting the vampire ride.
It is. And you said something that I stuck with me because I had my theater professor kind of told me the opposite sometimes, or, because I frequently will have like worse feelings about like not, the person not dead, where, he said he had like it's a little acting cheat. He was just like, oh, if you want to like cry in a scene, don't picture your dead cat, just picture your cat alive. And that will get you going. And that I did carry that when I was writing my first book, Surrender Your Sons. This episode was in my head a lot. The mom doesn't die in that, but my main character is abducted and taken to this conversion camp, and his mother has a big hand in that. And what I wanted to do, just to be really mean, what this episode kind of taught me was just like, yeah, you keep going back to Joyce nice moments in this thing, like, and that's something I intentionally wrote throughout Surrender Your Sons, was like Connor, the main character, continually has intrusive thoughts of when his mother was really warm and loving, and he just can't connect the two people as the same person. And that's kind of made it all worse, because it's like, yeah, these horrible people do have like lots of lovely, warm, awesome moments where it's real, and they just have lost their way for whatever reason. But it was like, it was a similar thing that I just really was bringing the body into this part where it was just like, that was going to crush him. Like, not like remembering her like saying, all right, get him out of here. Like that he just couldn't, his brain wouldn't allow that, but it would allow all these other like nice Christmas moments or this other thing. And just how the jump back to reality, like how like the hard cut, when I do that in the book, like I'm just like, it is the cut from dropping the plate to the thing. And, it can be different. The intrusive thoughts are always show up in whatever form they feel like.
They don't care. They don't care about your feelings.
No, they don't care. Oh my God, this is like the we all unpack our trauma. I was in the room, I was 13 years old when my older brother died, and I was in the room when my mom got the news. And it's a horrible core memory that sometimes will just like come out of nowhere. Like 30, almost 40 years later. This happened in 1988. And like, these things just intrude there. It's like you said, it's intrusive.
Yeah.
Like they come in when you don't have a choice for when they come in, and they make me do crazy things. I have another brother I'm very close with, and sometimes I just get these like, he's not sick, or he's not, like, there's nothing wrong with it, where I'm just like, he didn't return my text like right away. Like that means something bad happened, and that's all trauma from like that. and then I'm like, Eric, calm the fuck down. Like, it's, you know what I mean? And it's like, these things will mark you forever.
It's a and it's just some, like, even if it's like just the way, I remember it was 1999. This is like, so I was in the computer room back when, like, we just let the internet be in one place.
Right.
So I was in the computer room, and this is 99 about it, where it's like we had the thing where, where someone's on the phone and you pick up the phone and you hear what they're saying. So I did it, like the phone rang and I picked it up at the same time my mom picked it up, and it was when she got the news that my grandmother had had a heart attack, her mom.
Oh, Jesus.
And it was like getting the news, like, oh yeah, and it was just, I will, in that moment, I don't think to this day, unless she listens to this, like, she does not know I was on the phone when I heard that happen. I just, like, I heard, and I just, the way she reacted, that, like, sound, the way she said,
yeah,
oh no, stuck in my head, and I just very quickly, like,
yeah,
put it back, and I just, that is something where I have forgotten people's names I've forgotten cousins' name. I'm like, that is something that, like, I can safely guarantee 50 years will be in my brain.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will be. Yeah, absolutely. So we see the Scoobies. They've arrived at the hospital. Man, when Anya says, "I wish Joyce weren't dead," is kills me. It breaks my heart because she really is like the kid. But I think Joss also says in this is that whenever they cut to Dawn, it's a shaky cam, it's a handheld cam, and everyone else is shot on a dolly when they cut to them in the scene, because he said he considers it Dawn's, like, Buffy already knows her mother's dead. Buffy doesn't need to, you know what I mean? Like, Dawn hasn't even seen her mom. So Dawn is in, like, a spot where she can't believe that her mother is dead. Whereas Buffy had to believe it because it was in her face, right? And I thought that was, like, really interesting because I don't think I noticed that before, that, like, Dawn is shot differently when we cut to her. But that makes sense. I mean, Dawn is alienated this whole fucking season. So, like, of course now it's worse.
I found it interesting because I wonder what it would have been like if you had done the villains episode do the villains episode in a body style.
Yeah.
Where, because Buffy is sort of the one who's the Dawn, where she never sees Tara dead. Like, she's hearing it third hand, and she's got a thing going on. But, like, Dawn is the one who finds her, and and she probably had her own body episode in that one, when she's sitting there. But it's just one of those things where, like, like, when there is a thing, and this goes to, Zach, the conversation earlier was, do you see them die? Do you see the body or not? Because, like, will part of you not believe it? And will that be the thing you fixate on? Like, what do you want to fixate on? Like, super believe it?
Spin the wheel. Let's see.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Drown or burn alive. Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously. And the way, like, all of this is so good, and in Joss's, and I mean, I know it's Joss Whedon, but he did a good job with this commentary. At one point, he's like, when he talks about Dawn and the shooting Dawn, how they, like, handheld, he says, "Are you depressed yet? Because it's not getting any better." And they built that hospital waiting room set specifically for this scene. And he said he feels it's like a very Kubrick shot. And it actually kind of is. Yeah. Like, the way the arches are, and it's like there's 3 of them, and they have the lights, and it, like, goes back in a line. It is kind of very Kubrick. I don't know.
It's sickly. Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said that the lights, he specifically wanted them to be cold and sickly, and that they, like, got the exact, like, color and
that's
whatever.
A hospital anyway, I've never been into a warm hospital.
No.
So
No.
Yeah.
And he also says, which I thought was really good, and boy, do I agree with this, that Dawn's asking questions, and Dawn and Buffy are unable to connect. And he said that he feels, apart from a lot of hugging, funerals and death don't actually bring people together. It tears them apart. And that, like, shows tell us it brings people together, and that it often does the opposite. And I think that is correct. I am fighting my family. My mom has been dead. It'll be 3 years in July. Half of my Puerto Rican family just decided that they never got jewelry, so they're mad at me.
Oh my God.
We're owed my mom's jewelry.
In 3 years.
Right? Isn't that wild? Yep.
Well, that just happened.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And, like, it's such a stupid cliche thing. And it's like, anytime I'm fighting with one of them, I'm like, this this isn't a show or a movie where this is a cliche. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And it is true. I mean, you see who will pick it up and rally and who will not, I feel like.
My fourth book, my most recent one, is all about this. It is a it happened to me thing where it's Curse Boys, which is it's a rom-com, but it takes place in his old family's house where like all these summers and all the cousins, and it's wonderful because it was this thing where my mom's side of the family had, she's like one of 9 kids, and so like they all had like, so I have like 40 cousins. And there was this time where we would gather every summer and we all had these kind of, just like a stupid, and I'm sure everybody who was an adult at that time was like, no, it was terrible. We were fighting. You just didn't know because you were 15. And, there was just all these nice things. And then when I was 16, my grandma died. And you got a big lesson she was the one person making everybody act correct.
Yep.
Everybody after that just started being like, yep, I don't think I'm coming over. Like my grandpa was not inspiring camaraderie and getting people together, and you really just see like, oh, there is one straw that stirs the drink, and it's always like that's the person who goes. And yeah, no, it's like every time there has been sort of a major death in my family, it's always been like, some people just, and even if it's like there's not fighting, it seems to be like sometimes you just want to get away from the people who remind you of that thing. It's almost like people kind of want to you just want to start over and have a different life and be like, well, I'm just this new person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have a Buffy and Tara moment.
Yes. I really
is very important. This moment.
Again, Tara with the fucking kind eyes. Those eyes are so sweet. And the way they're shot, I think, is so good. Everyone goes to get snacks and they are sitting next to each other, but not sitting close. They are separate.
Tara's still keeping a distance, but she is definitely, she's the most assured in this episode than we've probably seen her amongst the Scoobies, right? Like this is what she knows. She is the most familiar here, and she does know how to kind of go into action. And I don't know, it's just like a whole new side to her. She wasn't in it long enough. Amber Benson.
And it almost makes Buffy come a little bit out of her own head for a second, which is good, right? Like it almost grounds her.
I wouldn't want to talk to my friends, but this one random person who feels a little bit more random right now is a little bit more accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is good.
Like when I was at that drive-thru with the Sonic lady, I'd probably told her the whole story, right? But I didn't want to talk to my friends.
They're like, ma'am, I don't know your name, but
do you want to listen to me cry for a moment?
I mean, I did that when my mom died, right? Everyone was just like weeping in the room, and it was like 11:45 p.m. and I could not be in that room anymore. And I went, and one of the nurses, she was this like very sweet trans woman. And I was like, do you mind if I sit with you at your desk? And she went, yeah, of course. And we like sat together, and I was like, I can't be in that room. And I like did an Ian thing where I'm like, well, you see, my dad's a Republican and my mom's been liberal, and I feel like my dad's going to become a monster after she dies. And I was correct in everything I anticipated.
Oh God, but, I'm so sorry for him.
And I was like, she keeps him in check and he listens to her. And I feel like my life is going to be awful after this. And she was so sweet about it and just like sat with me. So I wrote, I never got her name. I wrote.
She said, honey, take a Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah. I wrote the hospital a letter being like, I don't know the nurse's name, but she was so kind and so sweet. But I didn't even know her name. I didn't ask her name.
She was never there all along. She was the spirit of the hospital.
So just
it was I was getting my hair cut when I had my like and she was just like, well, what's going on with you? And I just like,
well,
nothing, just blah, 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 blah. It just all came out. Yeah. And then like, and I wasn't crying. I was just like telling the story. And when she was like doing the like mirror, like check your back of your neck, does this look good? And I could see, and I was like in the fucking chair. And it just was like that back of the, I was like, it looks good. It's fine. Thank you. Here's the tip.
And when I was working at Barnes & Noble, when I first moved back to Jersey, I might have told one of you about this. I had like an encounter. There was this very Jersey mom, and she asked for our grief and dying section. And I walked her over there, And she's with her like young kid, like young where they don't really know what's going on. They have like a toy in their hand. And she says to me, you know, my husband just died and I don't really know what to do. And all I said to her was, I hope you're being kind to yourself. I said, just try not to be too hard on whatever you do.
Yeah.
And she started crying and was like, can I hug you? And I was like, yeah, of course. And she like wept on my shoulder and
sometimes
told me
it's just so much easier that way, right? It is you're able to just tap into that grief for a moment and then kind of disconnect from it, right? Because that person's not following you. They're not going to remember you and they're not going to ask you later, hey, are you okay?
Right.
After the last conversation we had. So you kind of get to just leave it there. And sometimes we just need to leave it there. You know,
well, because when you're grieving, sometimes it's this seesaw. Because like sometimes you really need to get in there, get it all out, feel every moment of it.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you really need to. Some days you're like, I need to mask. I need to.
And you will have those moments where you go to a friend and you want to eventually talk, right? But a lot of times, especially just like so close to it, it's just not the time. And so Tara is just fitting perfectly into this sort of block, you know?
And we know Tara, so we know she's a perfect character for this, right? Like she is a perfect person for someone to be like, hey, I'm having this really terrible thing. Let me tell you about it. And she will be nothing but kind about it. And, you know, I like Sarah Michelle Gellar's acting is, I mean, always really good, but I love the switch when she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And Tara's like, no. I'm just telling you to say that it's always sudden and it's always upsetting. And like, fuck, man, it's so good. And like Amber Benson's warmth is just like, this is what Buffy needed, right? She needed someone to just be like, this is terrible.
You know, and it just was new to the Scoobies in this moment, but she's been with them a little bit, but she's never been with them through a big let's all grieve together thing. And so I'm like, God, if she had been there from the beginning, how everybody would have been able to, it would have been made it better, but it's like she would have like you probably would have all processed it a lot differently.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Buffy might not have left town after killing Angel if Tara had been there. Just she would have been like, hey, let's talk. Or like, do you want to sit with me and get coffee?
I mean, Willow might not have gone dark if Tara had been there. Oh, terrible joke. Anyway, Dawn gets attacked by a vampire.
Dawn goes to the morgue, and Joss in the commentary says they made the lights very blue, but then also blued the tone in post to make it even more like sickly blue, which I kind of love because
it's like that hereditary blue.
Yeah, I think it works really well, right?
Wouldn't it be nice to have an HD version of that?
And so in the morgue, Dawn like goes to look at her mom's body. It is kind of funny giving the commentary. He goes, you know, she needed to see her mom, and then there's that, and the vampire sits up behind.
Yeah, and the way he sort of describes it is like this: the vampire gets up, and it's something we already like kind of recognize for ourselves, but that it's like it's a naked man too. Like it's just kind of like a perversion in all different ways, right? It's like, you know, this person, this vessel now is inhabited by a demon, sure, but this is also a dead body coming at her at the time that she's standing over her mother's dead body, and it's a naked man, and she's like a teenage girl, and so like we can never give her a break, right? She's
Honestly,
6 months old right now,
right? It's like trauma on trauma on trauma.
Just doesn't stop. So.
And he says that they made the makeup worse. They like made it look more sickly on purpose, so that way this was more upsetting. He wanted it to be like a gross wrestling match because Buffy, of course, is not at 100% right, but this is still a vampire she can kill because it's a regular vampire. But like he
talks about like them touching faces and like it just makes a lot of sense, right?
I thought that was really interesting because I don't know, I just hadn't thought of that and how purposely brutal it is that she has to use a fucking saw.
And she's having to touch a dead body, you know? It's
think about the hospital staff in that episode. Like they come in, wasn't there a body here?
We've lost one.
Like, did she get questioned later?
Listen, this happens a lot. It's just at this point we've got protocol for it.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, add it to the tab. We lost another dead body. And at the very, very end, Joss says that the reason they cut before Dawn touches her is because we want to touch it, but there's nothing there. There's no resolution. There's no ending, only death.
Yeah.
And I think that's like incredibly bleak, but incredibly accurate.
He was in his bag with this one. I'm going to give the credit because he knew he was working through something. You know, what a brilliant medium to work through something with. He was pretty lucky to like have the show to do it.
Yeah,
this is the best thing he's ever written. It might be the best thing he's ever done.
Yeah, I might agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody want to talk about Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, but it's about the body.
It's about the body,
Yeah, and even just like him thinking that with this ending is so good. Like, I mean, I don't know, when you're like writing scenes like this and you're thinking of like why he like had it down. He knew when to cut. He knew what she was doing. He like, I don't know. He thought so much ahead of it.
No, you were right. Like you said it, I mean, he's in his bag. I'm like, wait, sometimes like when you're in a creative space, like just the rhythm's off. And then sometimes like you're just in a rhythm and it just keeps going. And there's a few of those and you're lucky if you get one. And it's like, you have a few. So
yeah,
I do feel like the team that we had working on the show anyway, though, like had any of them been handed this episode, they all would have been successful with it, just in their own unique way, right? Like I think this team was just so brilliant as a collective, and those are the types of people who should have their hands on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right? Like with Chloe Zhao taking over this new one, fucking Hamnet is brilliant. So like I would trust her with an episode of The Body to do her own sort of version of that.
I mean, after seeing Hamnet, I'm like, oh, so every episode of the revival is going to be The Body.
Oh my god, please no.
So it's all Body.
Just tears. I don't have enough tears to cry. I think at 31 I've run out of tears. I don't have anything else.
Well,
how do we feel in retrospect about Spike not being in this?
It makes sense.
I'm happy with it. Yeah.
His whole vibe is jokey, little quippy.
He was bringing another kind of plot into it that just didn't belong here.
And I think
I'm not. It doesn't bother me. I've always wondered, like, what would he have contributed had he been in this?
I think they do a good job because Giles isn't really in this episode. He's there, but he's like not doing a lot. And they do a good job next episode of showing Giles and Spike. Like Giles is like smoking a knot joint while listening to the music they listen to together. And we see Spike is bringing her flowers and Xander's kind of a prick about it. And then Willow I think it's Willow or Anya picks them up and is like, he didn't even say who it was from. He was just bringing these flowers.
Yeah.
I think the only thing they could have done with like a Spike, like bringing Spike in would just add like an implied sort of character development for him and for their relationship together. And I mean, he would have been able to be there and comfort her. He maybe would have been able to sit there and be the terror of that moment, sure. But like then you would take it and run with it and add it to their lore together. Well, this is when he comforted. And this isn't the episode for adding to any of that, you know? So
Yep, I agree.
And Spike also, I mean, maybe there would have been something interesting because like this is all a meditation on death and he is someone who has died.
Yeah.
Right.
And, so it's like there is like his relationship to death is very different. And that could have been interesting, but I think it would have, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm like,
could have done it in another episode and they kind of didn't.
That's the thing. Yeah. That's the other thing too. I think that was, probably, the next episode after that. What is that? Forever after that?
No.
That's another hard one. I think I do sometimes skip that one too, right?
Yeah,
it's just like
that's that whole.
I'm thinking of the only way he could have fit is if this happened at nighttime and like maybe he was going to her house and we saw him pause to see what was happening and like not engaged to be like, I know I'm not going to give her shit right now. Like Buffy's going through it. I'm not going to be jokey, flirty or weird or whatever, because he's also just been disinvited to her house like 2 episodes before this. So
was Spike's storyline at that point?
Remember Drusilla had come back to town. He like chained her and Buffy up and was going to kill her. Buffy saw the weird altar he had to her. So I think if it had been before that, he might have fit in this episode, but because it was after that, that's why I think
he would have had to deal with it. That's right. They would have had to deal with that. And she would have had, I think the whole point of this episode is to like have her just she is just overwhelmed with this one thing.
Yeah.
She would have been able to hide inside. Like, I think that's why the episode ends with the vampire slaying, because that is her sort of armor. And it kind of brings her into this, there are things when you lose somebody where there are things that kind of tap you back into life.
Yeah.
A little bit. And it was, that would have just zipped up a little armor on her that like would have killed the momentum of what you're doing here.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that we're at the end,
I'm emotionally exhausted.
I can't keep going.
Who you telling? Favorite? I don't even know that favorite is a good...
What are we doing? What are you talking about? Favorites?
Favorite outfit.
What do you think was the best scene? I think for me, it's just a tie between the dorm. I think it might be the dorm, but I also just think the tracking shot of Buffy walking around her house, flipping the fuck out, is a masterclass in acting because Sarah Michelle Gellar is just acting, and it's a straight...
If I've ever been creative with anything and needing to tap into emotions, it's always been that scene that I've gone to. So I'd probably say that one, yeah.
Eric?
It's Adam's, the one he said earlier. It's the looking outside after she throws up and just the wind chimes and the noise of the kids. Like that is my favorite scene in the show, in the episode.
I mean, I agree. It could be the whole. Honestly, like that could just be
just the whole
episode. You could just end there, and I'd be like, "Yep, that's great." Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
I was looking up like different like articles and Reddit posts about this, and someone actually said, Adam, that like that scene out of context works as like a short film on grief, and I think that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I think they said the only thing that takes it out of it is Giles mentioning Glory, but that's it. Everything else works perfectly out of context as just like this woman finding her mother dead. And
the whole. I mean, this is a. Yeah, this could be just a regular thing. This is something where it's like if you have somebody who's like a little genre allergic, you could show them.
Yeah.
No. I have shown it to people who are kind of like genre allergic, and it's like they love it, and then they're always like freaked out at the end because there's the vampire. And it's like, well, yeah, this is the show.
Yeah,
this is her life.
Well, and by the time we get to that part too, right, we are like falling asleep from emotional exhaustion.
Yes.
That is our. Hey, the episode's over. You got to go to bed. Come on.
I am dehydrated.
Yeah.
And hopefully, like when you're watching it, you're so locked in at that point that you're not like, oh yeah, I'm sure, man.
Right. Right.
No.
I think we all agree A+.
Yeah.
A+.
Yeah.
A+.
Doing favorite outfit feels like reductive.
It's the red sweater still. It does a lot. Like just physically, it does a lot. It shifts, it morphs, it costume designer, did fantastic with that one.
Our friend Cynthia Bergstrom.
I'm more just like, I don't know what everyone's wearing.
The royal purple.
I was gonna say royal purple. That's the only two things. I
do like Anya's outfit. I think she looks cute. Also, a thing that I was thinking about is how some of them are wearing the same outfits they wore the previous episode, and some of them are not because it's the same day.
I've never even.
I always wonder how they. It's probably a lot, just not too complicated, but I'm like, you have to like. That's another reason why it is so stressful watching I Was Made to Love You, because they're wearing the body clothes in the fucking episode. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, stop dealing with Robot Girl. Go home now.
Yeah.
Go home now. Go home before.
Seriously.
In a way, this is also Warren's fault. Because it's like she's
and Ben.
Yeah, where I'm like, it's
another note on costume though, since we're already here. So okay, Buffy's got the red, and Dawn. I mean, Dawn's is like memorable enough still, right? Like it's still like they can kind of like pair together, and everybody else is so forgettable that's another brilliant storytelling method through costume is that because it's their grief, right? We're like focused on their grief, and then everything else is grief and proximity. So, very nice, Cynthia. Very nice.
Yeah. So good. I love everything about this. This is such a good episode. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining me. I have no idea if this is going up just on Patreon or on the main feed.
I was like, everyone listening, check in with how you're doing.
I feel like it's special enough for main feed.
I'll do this anyway. If you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can listen to us and watch us on YouTube, because all of our episodes are video recordings now. Please subscribe, give us a good rating. It helps get the podcast out there. On Patreon, we are going through every episode of Buffy as it turns 25, which this may or may not be up on. Any support is appreciated. We have a book club. We have Zoom Hangouts. We're also going through X-Men the Animated Series and Batman the Animated Series. If you want to follow us on social, we're at Slayerfest X98. If you want to follow me, I am at ENX Carlos. Eric, where can everyone find you and your writing?
You can find my writing every day at nerdist.com. You can find me on socials at Geekboy Eric on Blue Sky and Instagram.
And Adam, where can everyone find you and get your books?
You can find me on all socials, but mostly just Instagram right now, at the Adam Sass. And you can buy all 4 of my books wherever you buy your books.
And Zach?
Ooh, you can find me manically digging at the Sunnydale crater. If you search Zachary Patton Garcia, I'll pop up. I also have a podcast, My Bloody Judy, with Ian Carlos Crawford here. So that's fun.
All right, everybody. We will see you next time. Bye.